All right. So we got Bobby here. Per usual, we don't know what we're doing, so we're just kind of
It's true.
rolling the dice. So go ahead, Bobby. Just give yourself a little introduction. Get rolling with it.
Yeah. So, as he said, my name's Bobby. I got about 30 nicknames from these guys at work.
Oh yeah, it'll be
Part
in the
time
intro.
Bobby, Spicy Bobby, whatever you want to call me. But known you for 3 years now?
Yeah, just over,
Yeah,
just right there. Yep.
just over 3 years. From Ohio originally, but now down south. Never go back north again. But
Amen to that.
but yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah. So getting into it, how would you describe our relationship?
I don't know. If somebody from the outside probably heard us talking to each other, they'd probably think that we disliked each other very
Hate
much.
each other.
But yeah, absolutely. But then we always tell everybody that's kind of how we get along. It's always, picking and fighting with each other, making fun of each other, but it's good.
It's that brotherly love, like
Mm-hmm.
old enough to beat each other up, which we do, in jiu-jitsu, which
Yeah.
is, where a lot of our relationship is from. But it's exactly that, right? We're always just dogging on each other, but not in a malicious way. It's just we have the same background,
Yeah.
as far as the military, and
Right.
that's where a lot of it I think comes from. But also, getting into it, it's also a lot of it is to build each other up too, which I think is awesome. And that's why I wanted you to be my first guest. And we're going to talk.
Sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up.
Shut.
And two of the scriptures that came to mind going off of that, got Proverbs 27:17 out of the old, good old King James. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that verse has been on my heart probably like so solid since we started working here. Just the core, I would say you, Grant, and I specifically, because we're the only ones that have been here for
through the whole thing,
from since we started.
Right.
And just thinking back how we started out when we first started working here, just started right from the get-go, started rolling together, started working out together. We did the Conquer the Gauntlet together, like how we're always building each other up. And how we've had those discussions where we would not be who we are today if we had not, if God had not brought us to Central Arkansas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how it worked out because, I tell you and I tell Grant all the time, if I would have been back in the field or back, before we moved here when this whole COVID thing happened, I'm pretty sure I would have got the shot and I would have just fell in. I know I would not be where I am, but I think that talks to God, right? And God's power and how God always has a plan in place. Sometimes you may feel as though maybe you're lost or you don't know what's going on, or maybe you don't have the right guidance, but you just got to trust God.
Yeah.
God is going to pull you through. All right. You just have to be obedient. You have to trust, right? The Bible talks about that all the time. It's but faith. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Grain of mustard seed can move mountains. All right. So that's where you have to put your faith in God and just make sure, that you are trusting in the right things.
Yeah. That's like you said, I know I wouldn't be who I am today if I was still hanging out in, Detroit area.
Yeah, for sure.
And, we talk about it all the time,
right?
Just like how we're just better men since we,
this is a true story, Frank.
3 years ago, and
I'm sure my wife would be just dinging in right now,
hitting the like button, right?
Yeah, 100 times. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something throughout this podcast I'm going to hit. I'm going to have Brittany on here at one point just to talk about our relationship and how she feels I'm doing as a husband. Because that's part of it, right? Part of being a good man.
Yep.
So the other one I have on here, right, was 27:9. Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart, So doth the sweetness of a man's friend by hearty counsel.
Yeah. I think that's good because I'll tell you, having someone or a group of people that you can go to with hard questions. I asked you the other day, right? You and I, there are times where we disagree on certain things, and that's fine,
Yep.
right? As long as we're in line of that we're going to heaven and that we're saved, that's the make or break point. All these other little things that we want to disagree on, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But we challenge each other with that constantly. Right. When we were talking about the other day about what's false doctrine and what's a false prophet.
Yeah.
You know,
you hit me hard with that.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's why I come to
work.
you.
It's early.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But it's a question that I'm glad that I have somebody like you and Grant that I can come to, right? Strong men, good friends in my life that I can go to as a brother and say, "Hey, look, I'm struggling with this. What do you think? What's your guidance? What's your,
Exactly.
So that's good.
Yeah, and that's and the thing I love about you too is you don't give a rip. You'll just lay it on us. Like if we're messing up, hey, square yourself away.
Yeah,
like you're being stupid.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't mean to be. I honestly, I swear, I never mean to be a jerk about that stuff. But we said it the other day. I can say those things to you because I love you. I know you love me. You're my brother, and I know because we are true friends that if I come at you with something hard, you're not going to get all offended and butthurt and not want to be my friend no more. You're going to be like, yeah, you're just going to be like, damn, okay, maybe I need to look at something real quick.
Yeah,
exactly. So that makes it easy to do those type of things,
and that speaks to our maturity level too, a lot. Because I mean, I think we grew up in similar backgrounds. I know we were both in the Army.
Yep.
So just off of that, like thinking about people our age that we grew up with and or the ones that are where you spent time in the military with. One, a lot of them probably don't have that faith walk that we have.
No.
A lot of them are not saying, we're anywhere close to being, millionaires or having it all figured out. But, we have homes, we have loving families, like we're doing the right things. And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that we grew up with and people just in general that are so off track. And a lot of that, like we're just speaking about, for us is because of this tight group, like I said, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Right. Just this group that we have here. And it's so huge and so needed. And that's what I really want to dive into with this podcast. Right. Just bringing on different guys that have had an influence on my life. And, we're about to go on a new journey here.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I had you be the first guest. It's just so important.
Yeah. I think a lot of times too, like what you're going to do with this is going to be good is just because it's going to be at times probably sharp and cut right through to a lot of people. That's good. Because I think a lot of what you see now is so watered down. Everybody's afraid to offend somebody or, oh man, if I say this, then, they're not going to watch my video or they're not going to donate to my church or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of just standing up and saying what's right, everything's so worldly now.
Right? Yes.
So like you were saying, everybody's worried about, oh, how much money am I going to make? Or how am I going to do this? Instead of how am I going to be a good husband? How am I going to be a good father? Right. Those are the type of things that really matter, right? The Bible doesn't command you to go make millions of dollars.
Right.
The Bible commands you to be obedient, to be a good husband. Those are the type of things, that's how you become rich. Rich in the Lord and rich in worldly things are two different things.
Yeah.
Those worldly things will be gone quick, and those godly, heavenly things are forever.
That's it.
So that's good.
Yeah. It's so important. And, so even adding to that, when we first met, we we were guest instructors. We found out we weren't adjunct instructors, whatever the
Yeah.
difference is.
Yeah.
Whatever
I
the difference is.
I don't even know what
we don't
that
have
means.
that title.
Yeah,
but, we've held a lot of other titles. Some we're proud of, some we're not. But
yes, this is true, Frank.
You were here for the 2 weeks, and I was here for the 1 week, and Aaron and I had to basically talk you into applying for the job. And
that's funny.
You know, could you imagine if we never got, like, man, just if you take a step back and think about it, if we hadn't gotten this job, where we'd be?
Dude, I don't even know where we'd be, honestly, because like you said, we were here for 2 weeks, loved it. Pretty much just coming up here and helping out.
Yeah.
And I remember that last night we were sitting at dinner, and you and Aaron were like, "So you gonna apply?" I'm like, I don't know. And you both pretty much were like, "You're an idiot if you don't apply." So I remember going back to the hotel that night, and I was redoing my resume, getting all my reference. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. But by the grace of God, I was able to just get everything turned in. And like you said, it has changed the course of my life.
And that's where our relationship started, right? Like I had to push you into it a little bit.
It's true.
Tell you we had to be, a little straight up with it. Like, you're being dumb.
Yeah. Yes.
You liked what you just did.
Right.
Like, go take your resume to HR. And like that's kind of like the first instance per se of like our relationship, building each other up. We're like, man, it'd be so cool for us to work here together and do these things. So obviously we keep referencing work and stuff. So we train law enforcement officers, specifically with ground defense. So our jiu-jitsu based curriculum, defensive tactics, if you will, and also in firearms, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not by choice, friend.
We were kind of voluntold for that one. But so that's where our journey started as far as all that goes. And man, it's crazy. We started like 3 years ago, like a month, almost a month ago. 3 years now we've been here. And what a journey it's been so far.
Yeah, it was even crazy because we came up here to guest, so we were working in the field in separate states, and we came up here on the national level to help out. And then when we went back, literally a week after we got back home, COVID happened.
Yeah.
Everything shut down. So the hiring process has stopped. So it was pretty much, I pretty much wrote off coming here. I was like, yeah, this is not happening now. I did all that work for nothing. But it took 7-8 months to get down here after that happened. But, it's been worth it, the whole time. So it's good. Yeah, my wife and I were just talking the other day that we don't feel like our lives truly started until we moved here.
That's good.
Yeah.
It really, like, if you really just step back and think about it, like 3 years has gone by in a blink.
You ain't kidding.
And how much our lives have changed over these 3 years.
Yeah.
And I know before I came here, I still am very infant in my walk, my faith walk, but 100%. I was really, really a baby before I came here. And if I was still back in the Detroit area, I just don't think I would have accelerated to the level that I did here.
I could honestly say that I probably wouldn't even be saved if I didn't move here. I'm no lie. I mean, I know, we're going to talk about this later, but I'll just talk about it now.
This is your world, Bobby's world.
Yeah, that's right. Do what I want. But there were times, I don't think it didn't, I won't say saved my marriage, but my wife has been saved since she was a child.
Yeah.
So there were times when my wife would like talk about the gospel with me and do those type of things. And I wouldn't mock her.
Yes, you would.
But I would ask, let's be real. I would ask like Dick, head questions. I don't know if I can say that on this podcast. Okay.
I think I put it'd be explicit.
Okay. And man, knowing what I know now, I look back on that time, and if I were my wife, I would have left me a 100%. Long time. Gone, friend. Gone. Gone.
Yeah.
But my wife is, dude, my wife is awesome. She steadily prayed for me, never forced anything upon me. And through her doing what God commanded her to do, led our family to this. And my kids know, everybody knows that my wife is the rock that started this whole thing, because it never would have happened. I would have left her so long ago if it would have been the other way around. I wouldn't even have played the game. So when we came here and I accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior, and we started on this, I mean, it's like our life really started, and it's been crazy. It's a crazy journey, friend.
Dude, blinking of an eye. But
yeah,
man, it's just how much has changed. And I mean, we could go so far off into the weeds with that.
Yeah, of course.
But like I said, the main goal here is just how we've built each other up. And here lately, one of the things I love too is, I don't like getting up early. This is, I don't know.
That's just
it's early for me. Saturday, it's early.
Yeah.
But I started coming to the gym in the earlier mornings and running into you there, and
becomes like a gospel.
It does. Absolutely unintentional. Like we're sitting there listening to each other in music or whatever, and then just passing, going on to the next exercise. Hey, and we just started talking
about this. Hey, have you read this? Yeah.
Have you watched this? Have you heard that? And that's another thing I really love about our relationship is how seamlessly that is, and just to speak back to like how you were and even I was before we came here, like. If you would have came at me with like some of the conversations, or even like even a milder version of some of the conversations we've had, I'm like, okay, bro, like,
goodbye.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I think a lot of that stems obviously from our upbringing, but also
of course,
our time in the military, in the Army, because you went to Afghanistan, right? We've never really talked about our deployments or anything like that, but just some of the things you see when you're over in a third world country, war-torn third world country, it makes you question God so hard. And I wasn't even a believer then.
Yeah. I don't even think it's anything. I think I was so far from being a believer. I wasn't a denier, I guess. I always thought there had to be something.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way that you can look at the world and be like, yes, a bunch of rocks hit each other, and now we have perfect gravity and trees that make oxygen for us. Like, it sounds, when you say it out loud, it sounds silly. Yeah, honestly, even for a non-believer, that sounds, there's something, right? But I think with the worldly view, you hit on the head of, if God's so good, why is there all this bad?
Yeah.
And I think that's part of that watered down Christianity that a lot of people get is God loves you and God just wants this and just wants, and you think, and if you don't know no better, right? Then you're like, copy. Okay. So then, well, why is there cancer? Why are there these countries that we're rolling through with, it's crazy town.
Yeah, and I remember a couple specific moments. I actually brought this up at our Bible study this past week. Pastor asked, like, what is one of those like aha God moments? And it wasn't. And during this time, I wasn't a believer, but thinking back on it, I remember in Afghanistan, I just had like this horrible feeling. I'm like, something bad's about to happen.
Right.
Something bad's about to happen. And I had that feeling before. And it didn't end up being anything too crazy, but it was like, thinking back on it, it was the Holy Spirit. Like,
yeah. You
tell me to, perk my ears up, be on a swivel.
Just something in your knower.
Yeah. And back then, which is the crazy thing about the world right now, is back then I was like, man, I got, angels on my side. It's one of my relatives that passed on. That's, hey, be on a swivel, but nah, dog.
Nah. They don't work like that.
That's not what happened. But in that moment, I had no idea.
Yeah, I think. Well, and you say, us with our brash change in our beliefs in a short amount of time. A lot of people are not that fortunate.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about bringing up a child in the way of God. It's because a childlike faith. The Bible even says childlike faith.
Yeah.
It is so hard for somebody like you or I to be brought up so worldly for 30 plus years. Yeah. And then you go and read the Bible and it turns everything you've believed on top of its head. A lot of people cannot come to grips with that. Mm-hmm. So we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
And it helps to have other people going through the same thing because we can help each other through that. But some people don't have that.
Yeah.
We still struggle with it. Even if you're saved and you read the Bible, Grant always says, if the Bible said that whales could talk, I would believe it.
Right.
He said, if the Bible says it, I believe it.
Yeah.
And we still struggle with normal people things, right?
Yeah.
Just like being a cop, right? Just because I put on a uniform doesn't mean that I'm a superhero or a superhuman. Like I don't have emotion.
Lord, no.
But the same thing when it comes to that. I still struggle with worldly things.
Yeah.
Like we pulled our kids out and started homeschooling last year. And my wife has times where she comes to me and she's like, we need to put the kids back in school.
Yeah.
Because it's just those moments of where you just don't have faith in yourself.
It's those human moments,
right?
Yeah,
exactly. And I try to tell her, don't put faith in yourself. Put faith in the Lord.
Yeah.
You are going to deceive yourself. Your worldly and fleshly things are going to tell you that you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Put your trust in the Lord. Don't let it come for us. Trust the Lord. This is what the Bible says that we must do. Try our best to do what it says. We're not perfect, but just trust God. He says that the woman is the guide of the home. You are the nurturer, the teacher. You can do this, And of course, after a day or two, she'll snap out of it.
But I think that's one of one of the biggest misconceptions that people have, the world has about Christianity. Right?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm guilty of it back in the day. Like, you're a Christian, but you drink and smoke and do X, Y, Z. But that has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with it.
But people that have no idea what a Christian walk is like, that's all I see. Oh, you're a hypocrite. Zip it.
Yeah, you
zip it.
You're still listen, and that's what I try to explain. Because like my siblings, I got my youngest brother saved. Right, found out my mom is saved, so that's great. But talking to my other brother, and my sister, they have that same belief of like, well, this person says that they're saved and they go to church, but they do this. Okay, relax yourself for a second. It's not as easy as that. They still have fleshly lusts and they still have free will, right? God gives you free will, friend. Yep. You're allowed to do whatever you want, right? But that's the beauty of this life. One of the guys at work, he says our time on earth is the only time to experience God's love under pressure, under stress, when we're mad, when we're sad, when we're sick. We will never feel that ever again. Because once we're in heaven, friend, there are no tears. It's joy all the time. There's no darkness.
No pain.
None of that. So this is your time right now to experience those things. And of course, we're going to make mistakes. And guess what? God is going to correct it and get us right back online. Right? So, yeah. Again, it's hard to explain. Again, it's like when Jesus was talking to Nicodemus. Okay? Nicodemus is supposed to be the smartest man in all the, everywhere. He teaches everybody everything. And Jesus talks about being born again. And Nicodemus says, how's a man to be born again? You want to crawl back into his mother's womb?
Yeah.
And Jesus essentially, I'm not going to quote the Bible, but Jesus essentially says, how stupid are you?
Yeah.
How can you know all these worldly things, but you know nothing of spiritual things?
Yeah.
right? So somebody who is not spiritual will never understand spiritual things.
Yeah.
And that's hard for Christians like us who are so gung-ho and we want to give the gospel to everybody and you want to explain things, and then you go off on the deep end and they're like, what are you talking about? Because they don't get it.
Yeah.
Right? When I was talking to my brother about Christ, my wife was hitting me like this, like, shut up. You're going too much. And I told Grant about it, and Grant was like, Grant's probably
the unsaved brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Grant's like, just preach the cross.
Yeah.
Just the gospel. Nothing else.
That's it.
Because you care so much.
Yeah, you want to hit them with all the knowledge.
You want to give them everything.
Like, hey, no, listen, you need to just shut up and listen. Yeah.
But that's helped me. Yeah. They don't understand spiritual things, so let's slowly get them there. Yeah. What's the most important thing? If you were to die today,
gospel. Yep.
Do you know that you would go to heaven?
Right.
If it's no, okay, well then we need to rectify that. If it's I don't know, well let's make sure. Or if it's yes, okay, how do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make sure that you have this down right, and then we can, experience those other things. So that's good.
Yeah, it's you gotta be gentle with it. Some people need that Godsmack.
Oh yeah, listen, there's a time and a place for that,
right?
But soul winning is not easy.
No,
not
in this world.
Not in this world. It's very hard, but something that we got to do.
Yeah.
But it's difficult, friend.
It really is. Yeah, wow, we got off into...
Yeah, sorry.
No, I mean, I love it. No, I mean,
listen,
we don't know what we're doing.
You guys cannot see this, but there's a script here. Paul is very professional.
I'm not.
And we have not even touched this little thing right here.
This is the most organized thing I've done in the last 30 years. Like, no, I'm trying. We're just rolling the dice. Hopefully we can...
That's the best way.
Hopefully we can reach some of y'all and plant these seeds and...
oh, for sure.
Help really grow some biblical men.
Sure is lacking on that one.
Yeah. What do you think of, this isn't even on here.
Okay.
But it just came to me, like masculinity. I can't even spell that. I'm probably not. But what because you hear toxic masculinity, but you're a little more well versed in the Bible. Like, what do you think a masculine Christian man is?
That's a good question.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Yeah, put me on the spot. That's good. No, that's good. I would say number one is a man who takes care of his home.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible commands you to be a husband, right? To take care of your wife. And well, what does that mean? Well, we all know, we all have wives. Well, most of us do, right? They have a lot of needs. Yeah, you need to get one. Get you a good biblical woman. That's where it's at.
It does jiu-jitsu. Hopefully.
Yes. That's a double-edged sword. Yeah. No, I think someone who is they're strong, they're firm, they stand up for what they believe in. But more than anything, honestly, I mean, I think a family is number one.
Yeah. I just, because one of those misconceptions with Christianity is like, oh, you should be a timid man.
That makes me want to throw up on this table right now.
Love and unicorns and whatever other shenanigans they believe about what a Christian man should be.
God has put so much on your shoulders as a man.
Mm.
The responsibility of a man in the home is something that other people will never understand.
Yeah.
There are things that go unspoken that a man just has to shut up and just do what you got to do. Suck it up, right? Embrace the suck.
Yeah.
You have to lead by example, all right? I can't walk around my home and say, hey, you better be reading your Bible. Hey, you better be praying every night. And then me not doing it. And that's just a very light example. But I just had this conversation with both of my sons the other day. I was going to the gym It was like a Saturday or a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And my boys are like, why are you going to the gym, Dad? There's no reason to go to the gym. And I stopped them both and I said, listen to me right now. I said, you think I go to the gym just because I want to have muscles
daddy time,
or just go by myself?
Yeah.
I said, let me give you an example. If this house were to catch fire right now and the roof were to fall on your mother, guess who's pulling your mother out?
Yep.
I am.
Yep. That's good.
I said, I will never, ever, ever outsource the security of this family when I am responsible for each and every one of you.
That's good.
That is why I lift. That's why I train.
Yes.
That's why I study my Bible, because I'm not going to give you Bobby's way.
Yeah.
I'm giving you God's way.
Might.
Well, maybe just a little bit, you know. But honestly, I mean, that, and I think that, you know, that kind of beats around, doesn't really give you an answer,
but that's good. And that's a good segue into what, to get into some of the other stuff. I think I'm going to throw that question at all the guys I bring on.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Hey, by the way,
should have given me a heads up.
Yeah, that was not on this not very professional script I had here.
Yes, that's good.
But that's exactly it, and that's something I've been telling our officers, or kind of speaking into our officers a lot lately. The last probably like 6 months, honestly, is like, you know, I always pose that question: in your current state, if you were in a knockout, you know, dogfight,
right,
and your backup was you and your current status, you know, your current physical, you know, status, would you feel comfortable with your backup coming to help you out?
Yeah, it's always good when you pose that question. They all kind of look like, oh, damn, snap. And you
spot.
always have the ones that are like, yeah, whatever, bro.
But I say that to kind of piggyback off what you're saying about you in your home, right? If there's that fire, stuff, it's your responsibility, and that's what I tell the officers. I'm like, I'm not putting the uniform on anymore, but this is a crazy freaking world.
Yeah, you always
there's meth heads, crackheads at Walmart.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
We have people that we work with that have had to slap a beating on some people acting a fool out in public.
Yeah,
and that's what our sons and the people that we're trying to build up, you know, our students, our officers, need to understand, right? Like, we're not doing this to try and be that superhero cop anymore. No. We're doing this because we got to protect what God has given us.
That's right.
And that's a big responsibility.
I was going to say that, you hit that right. You know, woman was given man to help man. Listen, it might have been Eve, might have been the one that grabbed the apple from the tree. But who did God go after for doing that? It was Adam, right? Because he's the head he's supposed to be the head. He's supposed to be the leadership. And I think that is the problem that we have in this world now, is we have fathers that don't want to spank their sons ASS.
Yeah.
Okay. And let me tell you something. The Bible says, spareth the rod, hateth the child.
Yeah.
Hateth their child. And I'll tell you, another example of that one yesterday is we put the kids in the child care at the gym yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
At the rec center.
Okay.
Yeah. And so me and my wife went and worked out, and then I went to go pick them up out of there. And the two ladies in there, when I walked in, they looked me dead in my face, serious face. They're like, you have two of the most well-behaved kids I've ever seen in my life. They said, it's ma'am. And I put my hand up and I said, spareth the rod, hateth the child.
That's great.
And she kind of looked at me like, yeah, but listen, I'm not, listen, don't call Child Protective Services on me. All right. But children are stupid.
Yeah.
Kids are dumb. They're kids. They're supposed to be. They're dumb. And if you don't have anything to guide the children in your home, it's going to get crazy very quickly. And my wife tells me that I try to coach up my kids too much, but I didn't have a father in my home. I had to figure it out on my own. I will never let that happen for my kids. My kids are going to know we are breaking the generational curse in my house.
Yes.
They know what it looks like to see a husband come home from work and love his wife.
Yeah.
They know what it looks like to have a godly woman in their home. So when they go to find their wife, their mom is the role model that they're looking after.
Yeah.
And I tell them every day, I don't care what you hear. A strong man who loves God, all right? I'm obedient to the Lord.
Yeah.
The Lord comes first in everything in our home. It has to be that way, all right? So that way they understand, okay, it's not what dad says. This is what God commands.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of how we've tried to build the structure of the house.
Yeah, and that's what it calls for. But so to circle back, you just said breaking those generational curses, right?
Yes.
And man, we've dabbled and talked about our upbringings a little bit and everything, and the thing that can really, not to like toot our horns or anything, but really speak to our strength. I know, at least for me.
Yeah.
I was being stupid when I got out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
I made the decision to move down to here, actually, out of high schools to get myself in line. Started being stupid again. So I'm like, all right, it's time to go in the Army.
Right.
I had been wanting to be in the Army, since I was a kid anyways. And so I went off to the Army. But like every decision along the way, I was never forced, right? Like it was still my decision. It was my decision to try and better my life. It was my decision to join the military and to, really kick myself in the butt.
Yeah, of course.
To better my life. It was my decision to seek out the Lord, and there's all these things along the way, and that's something that's not easy. That's not an easy thing to do, to like really look yourself in the mirror and be like, all right, bud, it's time to grow up.
Yeah, that's good. Man, I don't know. Mine's kind of I don't want to say it's the opposite, because obviously I've made myself do certain things. But I tell my kids this. I tell my son this too. My oldest son is really good at basketball. More athletic ability than I ever had.
That's for sure.
But I have went through life and I've been pretty okay at every single thing that I've picked up.
Yeah.
So I've honestly never had to try hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds really bad when you say it out loud. Right? But honestly, until I came here and until I followed the Lord, obedience is a whole different ballgame, friend.
Yeah.
Having to honestly put in the work. Because again, we're human beings. Are there things I don't want to do? Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Are there days where I'm just like, you know what? Not today.
Not today.
Just everybody leave me alone. Give me 5 minutes to myself.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. But I guess I've always had a little, if you look at my siblings, right? They've all dabbled in they've all went off course at some point, right?
Yeah.
Gotten in some kind of trouble or done something like that. And they're all doing great now, which is, is a good thing. But I've never been in serious trouble. I just have always been kind of on that, the right side of the line. But again, I've never had to really try extremely hard.
Yeah.
So I've never super excelled, but I've never failed, at anything too serious. So,
yeah. Well, so what made you join the Army then?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you. I was it's kind of,
I saw a commercial.
It's kind of a weird scenario of how it happened. But the day I graduated high school, the day after, my family uprooted from Ohio and we moved to Alabama. Huh. Right. Because that's where my stepdad's family was.
Okay. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. So the day after high school was over. So I was there. So where I was, I had no connection to this place. So I felt like I was already a fish out of water. All my friends were gone. Everybody was gone.
Yeah.
And a girl I was dating at the time had moved to Tennessee. So I moved to Clarksville, Tennessee, which you're very familiar with. Okay. All right. So when I was in Clarksville, Tennessee, obviously a military town, right, outside of Fort Campbell. And I ended up staying with, a recruiter. All right. So long story short, I ended up joining the military off of him.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there was really no, I didn't plan on being in I honestly didn't even know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
Today it seems like you research everything and everything's at your
stories about that. It just makes me laugh.
I had no clue. Literally, there was a moment in basic training when we got there, because I was an MP. So I was told by the recruiter, hey, you'll just be doing police work on the base. I said, oh, copy. All right, that's too easy. I want to be a cop anyway one day. I get to basic training. We sit down. We're all sitting like this. And they just start playing this video of like these big trucks blowing stuff up. And they're over in like Iraq, Afghanistan. I'm like, okay, I'm in the wrong room. Like, I want to raise my hand like, yo, someone come. They got me in the wrong spot. I'm looking for like police cars, people arresting people, nothing. He was like, yeah, MP multi-purpose. I'm like, oh, fuck. Right, and that just changed everything, right? So it was crazy.
So funny.
Yeah.
That cracks me up every time. But, what's funny too is, people see us today and they just think we've always been like this physical stature.
No, negative. I know what
next time you're on here. Next time you're on here, I'll have hopefully more experience with this, and we'll pull up our pictures from basic training, like that day one.
You're gonna have to pay me for that one. No, I'm just kidding.
But
that's bad. We'll save that for the future.
I was 155 pounds.
Okay, you don't even want to know how much I weighed.
I know it was less than that.
It was 120.
Oh my gosh.
Hey. See? All right. Index. Safety. So turn this off. No. It was bad, friend.
Yeah.
Like my wrist right here was the size of my entire arm. It was terrible.
You had Robert's arms.
Yeah. I remember one time when I first got to my unit, we were playing like unit basketball or something. I had a cutoff on. I don't know what would make me wear a cutoff. And one of the NCOs was like, what are those strings hanging from your sleeves? He's like, oh, those are just your arms. I'm like, you mother. It was bad, dude. It was bad.
Yeah, that was the same thing with me, man. I was scrawny. Yeah, we'll have to we'll bust out the pictures.
I have to find the archives.
We have a student. We just had a student. We just had a course graduate yesterday, and he, you'll know who I'm talking about. He's huge.
Yeah,
a massive man, and same thing. Like people think about us. I
remember him saying he was like 130 pounds.
Yeah, bro. He's like 6'3".
He's 6'3", and he said he weighs 260 now. That's how much he told me to weigh. His arms are the size of my quads.
That's what I was about to say.
And if you don't know, I have very big legs, and this dude's arms were huge.
Patton said something. He's like, I was like, man, he's so big. I'm like, his arms are as big. I referenced your legs. I'm like, his arms are as big as Bobby's legs. And Patton's like, yeah, but Bobby's got big legs. I'm like, I know. I'm not dogging Bobby's legs, but I'm like, this dude is just big. It's just. But I bet he's got an interesting story too. So that said, right? So we been working out.
I was just looking, just because we haven't done anything on this side.
I mean, we have kind of. We've done.
It's funny.
We talked a little bit, but
I think that's a good thing, though. Is I think, and this is just an outside perspective. It should be like that. The podcast should be kind of a free flow, especially for you and the way that you are. You're a people person. People will gravitate towards that when you let some react.
Nobody that sees me.
They don't see that until you get into this big old teddy bear right here. All right. We were talking about that the other day too.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I don't want it to be. Sure. We got to talk about some things, but so the thing that actually really made me decide to do the podcast was what we're getting ready to endure.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I try not to think about it.
So, we're getting ready to do the tactical games.
Yes.
On the YouTube page, I've already put up a couple videos.
Yeah.
Of some of the training we did last week.
What do the cool kids say? Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pause the video, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe now. Whatever that means. Man, the things we put ourselves through, right?
Yeah.
Like we're both disabled veterans, and this is something else. This is another thing I always ask and bring up to the officers, right? You set your own limitations.
Yep.
Right? Like I had neck surgery, 2.5 years ago now. My freaking
you couldn't even do a push-up.
I couldn't even do a push-up.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was bad. I still don't have full push.
Yeah, that's just because you're half woman.
That's got. but if I would have just stopped from that surgery.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. You could have stopped. You would have had a quote unquote good excuse.
Yeah. Oh right.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a doctor when I first got out of the military that was like, if you ever stop working out, your body's going to crumble. So I've taken that
seriously
in a kind of a gospel in itself, right? Like I've got to stick with that. Like I've got to stay working out. I've got to continue to grind. And that's another thing that's great about our situation here is we're surrounded by that.
Yes.
Some of the other guys I'm going to have on here.
I remember the other morning when we were working out and you were just in there being a sad sack.
I didn't sleep.
But what's good about that is I told you were being a sad sack, which made you work out more. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was Thursday
like a week
morning.
later.
Yeah. I was in there and we were working out. I was like, I don't even want to be here.
Yep.
And you're like, all right, so you're going to set this up. We're going to run this. I'm like, oh my gosh. Right. But it's a good thing.
And that's exactly what, Proverbs 27:17, right?
Yeah.
We're sharpening each other.
100%.
So the tactical games, you reached out to me, I don't know. You're like, hey, you want to do this National Guard PT test?
Yeah, the RB combat fitness test was having a competition.
Yeah, that's cool. And then I'm like, wait, you got to run.
Yeah, we're like, well, we got to run 2 miles at the end.
Not about that life.
A mile or less, I'm down.
Yeah, a mile, all right, copy. But 2 miles, nah. You might as well sign me up for a marathon. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So that got nixed. I was like, man, I don't know about running. And then you hit me with, boom, let's do the tactical games. I was like, bro, we can't even shoot.
Hold on. Listen, hold on a second. So let me tell you this. I was talking about doing the tactical games like next year after like the Nationals got done with. And then you text me, you're like, hey, there's one in November. Let's do it. And I'm like, that's like 3 months from now. Right. And I was like, you know what? All right, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we kind of started.
Just like this podcast, we're just rolling the dice. Let's do it. See what happens.
Love it.
We are firearms instructors. Bobby teaches concealed carry program here in Arkansas, and but we suck at shit in the grand scheme of it.
Listen,
right?
And you know what? You know what's funny is I'll bring up something I said at the range the other day. We're surrounded by such savages all the time.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by those 1 or 2 percenters that sometimes we feel like we're terrible. But if I were to put Paul into a random group of people out of whatever, Walmart, he's going to be that 1%. And so I think that's a, kind of a way that we have to look at these things. Now, granted, we're going to go compete with a bunch of the other 1 or 2%.
Okay. Go back. So what did you actually say? Because you said, what's the name of that episode? So you said, that's what you said. So say what if you remember.
I don't remember per se, but I said something along the lines of.
I think it was right after you ran.
It was right after I ran my little course.
Smoked.
Yeah, I was smoked. Right. And we got done. And I was like, we're constantly swimming with sharks.
Yeah.
So most of the time, you and I may feel like minnows because we're just with these big sharks all the time. But when you change the pond, right, and you leave our little circle of what we're in, and you go to the normal outside world, we become the sharks, and now it's a bunch of minnows just because of the simple fact of we train, we put ourselves in those situations. There are a lot of things that we do that other people do not do.
And because we're always doing it, we don't think about that.
Yeah,
we don't think about the general public.
Right.
Because this is just our life. Like, this is what we're around. Like,
I figure everybody does this.
Yeah, we're constantly swimming with sharks, like you said, right? And those savages that we train with, like, we surround ourselves with some dangerous people.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Like, I'm glad they're our friends, because if I caught that dude on the side of some of my buddies on the side of the road, I'd have to shoot them because they would kill me. I would probably miss, but I would have to shoot them,
That's good.
Specifically Ryan, right? I'm going to have him on here. I might actually go out to S7.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, set up the podcast there.
That would be neat. Yeah, that's good.
So that's another thing I'm trying to make it unique about this podcast is because some people can't travel. I can go to them.
You can go, yeah, that'd be. I mean, I think that's awesome. Have it mobile, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so Ryan, right? I'll talk more about with him, but he helped run a scenario with us last week, and he's always always good at pushing.
Hey, I don't want to have to sponsor any waters.
Yeah, right.
So I'm off screen.
He's special water. He always comes in with that word sometimes at the right time, and it just helps push us. And he, for me at least, he's a huge reason why I'm here today.
Oh, yes.
I know Ryan Stevens, but everybody's gonna be like, a lot of people have a story like, oh man, Ryan, da da da. And now that we're here and we're training with him and like some of these other guys, man, like it just pushes us, and it gives us that drive to push and keep pushing. And
I heard Chad Liedman the other day. I hope I'm saying his last name right.
Hopefully, because you might meet him.
Yeah. But he said changing the mindset from a what if mindset to an even if mindset. A lot of times you hear people say, well, I'm going to start a podcast. Well, what if I don't have a good microphone? What if I can't get a guest? What if I can't soundproof this? And he was saying to change that mindset to even if. Well, even if I can't soundproof, I'm still going to do this. Even if I can't get a guest, I'm still going to put it on the internet. And he said that is from taking somebody from being mediocre to being a millionaire or whatever the case may be. Because let's just use the tactical games as an example. You and I both are not the greatest shots on the planet, right? And we've never done something like this, right? So we have a million excuses to either be fine with not placing, not going in there. Oh, well, what if we don't do this? What if we can't do this? Dude, I've never shot with that scope that we use the other day. I've never done something.
Fell off our rifle.
So we could easily be like, man, this is just going to be too much. Let's just take a seat. But our mindset is already, well, even if I can't use it, I'm doing it anyway. Mm-hmm. Even if I can't do this, guess what? I'm just going to go there and sweat my tail off, and I'm just going to put in the work.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. So when I heard him say that, he was talking about it for officers, right? I try to listen to it for cops since we train cops, but because a lot of times you'll give them a scenario and they want to what if it to death, which is fine, right? It helps you prepare when you do the what if, but change the mindset like fitness. Well, what if I don't have time to go to the gym? What if I don't have the money to go to the gym? What if this? Well, even if you don't have time, I'm still going to do 50 push-ups. Even if I don't have the money, I'm going to do a bunch of calisthenics. Even when you think about it like that, you're like, dang, that even if mentality really, really helps.
That is so good. I like that a lot. It's so easy to just come up with an excuse.
100%.
Yeah, we
bro, if you would have said last night, I gave you a way out.
Oh yeah, you did.
I said, hey,
you gave me a way out in the garage as you were walking in, because I
text last night. I said, hey man, you got everything set up for tomorrow, and you're like, ha ha ha, I'm trying to do this, this, and this. I'm like, yo, bro, if you need to wait till I get back, it's not a big deal. And what did he say? No, it'll be good.
Because if you don't just throw yourself out there and do these things, you'll always have an excuse.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And thinking about that with the tactical games, if you had decided or I had decided to be like, all right, I'm going to go do these tactical games, because I had been asked to do it last year, and I probably had the nah, dog, I can't shoot.
Nah, dog, I ain't doing that.
You got to run and stuff.
Yeah, next slide.
But if we had, as individuals, been like, I'm going to go do these tactical games, we wouldn't have done the tactical games.
Nope.
We would not be doing the tactical games.
Negative.
And that's, it just speaks to how important it is to have other strong men to help build you up.
Yeah, I think that's, again, it circles back to what you're doing this for. Yeah. If you don't listen, I can rely on my wife for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I can. But at the same time, my wife is very compassionate and concerning. So if I say something to her like, babe, I'm just tired, she'll be like, It's okay, baby. Let me make you a warm glass of milk. You go sleep right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now she pushes me and she drives me, but also at the same time, she wants to take care of me.
Yeah.
That's where someone like you and Grant, those guys step in. I'm tired. Well, quit being a pussy then. Excuse me. Sorry. But that's what I get. Yeah. Oh, no, you're tired because whatever. I won't say some of the things that we say, but I can count on you guys to say, that's just your weakness. Shut up and go do what you need to do, right? And it covers a multitude of things.
And man, if you think about it, like just the 3 years we've been here, some of the people that have come in and out of our lives, whether being like in our immediate circle or just where we work or whatever, just how many of them have faded off? How many of them have stopped working out?
Hey, listen,
they're being those used to be's. I used to be this.
Yeah. What does Grant say? It's easy to be a warrior till you have to do warrior things.
Ooh,
right? Or easy to call yourself a warrior till it's time to do warrior type things.
Yes.
Listen, everything that we do, and I'm not saying that we're some awesome individuals. I'm not at all.
You can just watch the videos of us shooting to attest to that.
It's a grind, dude.
Yeah.
Listen, 95% of the time, I don't want to go to jiu-jitsu.
Oh, 100%.
I do not want to be there. I enjoy it, but I don't want to go.
Feel so much better afterwards, though.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I showed up.
Listen, and I love that my kids get to watch their dad get choked. Yeah. And he goes and does hard things, right? Like, dang, my dad's going out there and fighting other grown men.
Nope.
Right? Well, I say fighting, but, pajama wrestling, whatever you want to say. But it's just one of those things that it is a never quit mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I get choked 1,000 times. I'm going to jiu-jitsu because I have to.
Yeah.
Right? I need to, just in case I have to protect my family or do something else. Right? It's just one of those things. And I think about it too is you don't know, like you've heard Paul talk about Ryan Stevens. You talked about Ryan Stevens being that person in your life. You don't know who in your life you are a Ryan Stevens type person too.
Mm. Yeah.
Right? So if I don't show up to jiu-jitsu, that person's like, oh, well, I really looked up to him.
White belt's like, man, I was hoping Bobby was going to be here. No, it's good.
Exactly. That's why I feel some type of way when like the class that you guys
I feel like
graduated.
a dirtbag because I haven't been to jiu-jitsu in
well, you should.
10 days.
But the class that we just graduated yesterday, the instructor course, I felt terrible not being there yesterday.
I bet.
Because I've been with them the entire time.
And then about you or something.
Copy. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But you feel, a commitment to them. You want to show up for them, but that's just one of those things that, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
I don't know.
You just got to keep showing up, friend.
That's it.
And I'm sure, people that will comment on your videos at some point, I would say feel free to write questions in there or something that you may be dealing with that Paul could address, in the future. But yeah, it's good. It's just surrounding yourself with strong, godly men.
Yeah.
It's not easy to find those type of men, right? But when you find them, keep them close.
Yeah.
Got to keep them close.
I don't even remember specifically what Ryan said last week, but a big part of it, not to keep bringing him up, but is having that, 5 friends, and he laid it out, and I have to get it from him, which was good.
I have it right here if you want, man.
Do you?
We can let him bring it.
Yeah, whatever. But just if you're an average, generally you're the average of your 5 closest friends, right?
That's a good rule of thumb, I think.
You think?
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You are who you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, if you surround yourself with dirtbags, you're
going to do bad things. Yeah. That's good.
If you want to better yourself, you have to change your environment.
Yeah.
Start eating differently. And that's the thing, right? You can start small, right? I tell guys all the time, like, hey, look, something that I do personally to make myself better, try and make myself better, a little bit of the good word.
Yeah.
Every day.
Daily dose of doctrine, baby.
Yeah. There you go. Is that Wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that guy.
You're going to have Wolf.
Dude. That'll be.
And if the whole time he's on here, there better be an American flag just flying behind him. I don't even care.
this dude we're talking about. If you can think of an American man, like just true grit American man, it's Wolf. David Wolf.
100%.
Great Christian dude. He was an Army Ranger back in, I don't know,
Nam or something.
I don't know, a long time ago. His hands
are like bear paws.
I was trying to teach handcuffing, and I used him. For whatever reason, he was in there. And I grabbed his hand. I'm like, I feel like such a small man. This dude hasn't worked out in 3 years, but he's still just like.
Yeah.
Anyways,
go back to
what was I talking about? Yeah, so you're an average of who you surround yourself with, and so those things that I try and tell guys to just make yourself a little bit better every day.
Yeah,
right. You want to get more physically fit, like you were saying. Do some push-ups.
Just do some push-ups, man.
Put down. When the Netflix is about to go to the next episode, see how many push-ups you can do in those 15 seconds.
Yeah, listen, it's all about doing things that you don't want to do.
Yes,
that's the key for obedience. Yeah. My kids clean their room, not because they want to, but they know I'll whip that ass if they don't. You see what I'm saying? And that's our faith journey too.
Yeah.
Well, people are like, well, I'm still doing drugs, so I'll come get saved later. That's like saying, hey, I just got outside, I'm all muddy. I'm going to wash my hands, wash my feet, and rinse myself off before I get in the shower. You're going to clean yourself before getting cleansed? That doesn't make any sense. Mm. Come as you are, right? And then you and God together will work it out.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't mean that I immediately have to be like this. Christ was sent here for sinners, right? Healthy people don't need a doctor.
Yeah. Right.
That's what he's here for. So it's just doing these things that you don't want to do, right?
Yeah,
and then over time it'll change.
And you don't have to if you want to run a marathon, don't go out there and try and run a marathon, right? Like you have to start out small, and that's why, like I always say, like just do it little by little. Like you know what, just change what you're ingesting.
Yeah, I think
change what you're eating, change what you're listening to, change what you're viewing. Just change it to a little bit better things. Like I said, I'll listen to or read on the way to work.
Yeah.
I don't read while I'm on work. I listen to the word or or gospel music or something like that instead of that gangster rap we came up on.
Let me tell you something. You bring up changing what you're hearing. That is such a huge. Huge. I don't think people realize what they consume with their ears.
Yeah.
And how it affects the way that you see things.
Yeah.
Dude, I was heavy into like true crime stuff and I still do now, but I mean I would listen to it on repeat. And I was a big gangster rap fan. I love old school rap. So you're hearing these things. And since I have again one of those things that I have to literally try hard to not do because obviously it's still something I enjoy. It has changed the way I look at things. Yeah. Like I don't think about things that I used to think about.
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
It's funny because so I know back in like the 90s, the parental advisory and all that stuff, and like, the music doesn't make kids do these crazy things, video games. But now, like we're talking about, removing some of these things from our lives, it's like, like I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear that,
bro.
And it's toxic. It is so toxic what you're ingesting. Like not only the food, but what you read, what you listen to, what you watch, affects you so much. And just changing that. And it's funny because again, 3 years ago, I watched whatever, listened to whatever, but now like
I won't even watch
a movie. Yeah,
we went to a movie, show, but I won't even watch it anymore.
Yeah, we went to a movie a little while back, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. Like we paid for it, so we're going to sit here, but like I don't really want to watch this.
Hey, listen, I pulled my family out. We went to go see Thor. Love and Thunder. Halfway through, everybody out right now. Did I want to do that? No, but I was not going to expose because I know what they see and what they hear is going to affect their outlook. Get up right now and get out. And some people, oh, you're robbing your kids of these experiences, or you're going to raise weird homeschool kids. Nate, shut up.
Yeah.
My kids will be innocent as long as I want them to be.
Yeah.
Why rob children of innocence? Right? Dude, listen. By the time I was in 3rd, 4th grade, I knew things that high schoolers shouldn't know.
Right.
Copy?
Yeah.
My kids, what people think is normal now, my kids have no idea what those things mean.
Right.
And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, this world is so crazy right now. Mm-hmm. But if you really want to,
you're going to get canceled after this first episode. 100%.
That's why I'll just air a bunch at one time. So
there you go. Yeah.
Hopefully I can plant a bunch of seeds.
Yeah.
But it's just changing little things. If you really want to change, man, you just got to do little things. Take those little steps. Yep. Right? I said, if you want to run a marathon, don't just go out there and run.
Yeah, no.
You're weird if you want to run a marathon. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Those people are.
But just those little things, I'll tell guys, like, they're like, I have guys like, oh man, this. I'm like, all right, well, sounds like you need to change. You want to change these things about your life. So I'm not saying run out and get a gym membership, but instead of getting on the elevator, take the stairs.
Yeah.
Do some push-ups. You don't like the way you're feeling, depressed and all this stuff all the time. But what are you ingesting?
Yeah. See, that's
what are you watching? Too. What are you listening to?
You listen to the world now. It tells you being fat and eating whatever you want. Like the FDA is like food, like
the pyramid.
It's not the pyramid, but it's like going from like a healthy thing to like the least healthy thing.
Yeah.
And Honey Nut Cheerios is above eggs.
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself, people actually listen to these. People are supposed to be the experts, right? And it's insane, dude. But that's the problem. And some of these people I don't blame, because they're listening to the people that are supposed to be guiding them and helping them. Yeah. But people have turned to rely on the government too much.
Oh, absolutely.
The government is supposed to work for us, right? Not dictate and intervene in how we live our life. So these people have went away from trusting God and that book right there to lead their lives, and instead have relied on a worldly thing to lead their lives, which has, where a lot of people screw, get jammed up.
Absolutely. That could be it. I mean, we go on a whole thing.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm just. It's not easy, right? But it's a discipline thing. I tell my wife all the time. She's like, I don't want to do this. Listen, sometimes you do what you don't want to do. Right? It's called discipline. Do you think I want to get up at 4:30 every morning and go to the gym? Mm-mm. No. Right? That's why I hit snooze at least once or two times.
I would kick you out of the bed.
Yeah, but I do it because I have to, because there's no other time in the day for me to work out. Yeah. When I get off work, I'm not the best at it, but I try to just turn into a husband and a father. Coach my kids' teams, run them around town, spend time with them, do it. When I get home from work, my day is not over. My day is just starting. I cannot get home, walk in the door, and become a bum on the couch, because my wife and my kids are waiting all day for me to get home.
Yeah.
I cannot come home and become a shell of who I am.
Yeah.
I have to come home now and do my godly responsibility and be a husband and a father. What does that mean? I have to spend time with my wife. Maybe I have to go dig her up a garden or something. Whatever. I got to run my kids to practice. I got to do that. So,
and that's another thing, man. It's just so crazy if you think about our lives before we came here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how to get home and want to sit down and play Red Dead Redemption, or
of course,
which was a fun game.
Doesn't mean I don't
miss that, because I feel fulfilled, man. Yeah. Like we're doing good things and we're making ourselves better, and that's the biggest thing, right? If you want the change,
and I think it's okay even if you do miss those things. Are there days where I get home from work where I'm like, I just want to sit back on the recliner and just take a nap?
Yeah,
it's okay to feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's when you have a decision to make.
Right.
That's when discipline kicks in. Are you going to do the hard thing?
And it takes a long time. Like,
of course it does.
Like, for you to, and like I said, sometimes you don't realize. Like, I know I don't realize until like thinking about it or having these conversations that I've changed so many aspects of my life to where I don't just come home. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing this, but I don't come home and just binge watch Netflix.
No.
Like, Brittany and I we'll sit down and start a series of something, and it'll take us months. There'll be like 2 seasons of this thing.
Yeah, that's the way.
45-minute episodes. It'll take us months.
It takes Karen and I like 4 days to watch an hour-and-a-half movie.
Bro, absolutely, because you get home, right? Yeah. You got your chores, the things you got to do around the house.
Yeah, of course.
I've got a herd of dogs. I got a pet. We got chickens.
That has to take at least an hour.
Yeah, there's so many things, right? And I mean, people make it work and they do those things, but I don't miss it. Like, sometimes I'm like, man, it'd be cool to sit down and play video games, but then I'm like, well, then I just get wrapped back up in that lifestyle.
It's a cycle.
And what would I be giving up?
Because it's an instant gratification.
Yeah.
And that's what the world preaches now.
Yep.
Is you deserve this, you deserve this, you deserve this. You deserve nothing.
Yeah.
You deserve nothing. There's only one person that did it all, friend.
Amen.
And that's the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. And I think that's what people really get confused is, well, I'm a good person. I deserve this. No, you're not a good person. No. You're actually a terrible person. All right.
See, Bobby hitting you with the truth.
Yeah, sorry. But I have to tell myself these things too, because you get wrapped up in, like, my mom, when she was here and she came to visit last week, she would, buy me something. I'm like, Mom, stop getting me things. She's like, well, you deserve it. No, I don't. I don't deserve it. Well, you're a great husband and a great father. I said, well, yeah, but I fail at a lot of those things. No. All right. And that's the thing. I think that's what keeps me grounded a lot of the times, is knowing that, I'm doing it all for the glory of Him, not because I am strong enough to do these things. It's because I put my faith and my strength in Him, and He leads me through. And in those times where I want to do something else, it's like my knower, that Holy Spirit, kind of slaps me and says, don't you do that. Yeah. Right. And puts me on the right path and puts that thought in my head of, well, you really need to do this. Okay, you're right. Boom. And I go and do those things, so it's not because of me, but.
Yeah. Sorry.
I love it.
My dog.
Listen, if my dog was here, he'd just be peeing all over your house.
Ooh, puppy.
He's happy peeing like a monster right now. It makes me not even want to pet him. Yeah. The moment I touch him, it's everywhere. And then he gets thirsty and then wants to lick it up. It is disgusting, friend. It's disgusting.
Well, I was going to say we should come see your dog, but no.
I
don't want to get peed on.
Aaron came over the other day, and he was wearing flip-flops. Strike 3. That dog peed all over his foot.
I love it. He's such a cute.
Yeah, he's
a cute little dog. Little. I say little.
Yeah.
He's a puppy, but he's going to be one of the biggest German Shepherds I think I've ever met. So, man, I really appreciate you coming on. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but
you don't care.
Yeah, I don't. No, I appreciate you. I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, it's good.
And
you actually put this together quickly. So good for you for making a decision.
I feel like I drug this out for too long because
from the first time you mentioned it to me till now has not been that long.
Well, that's good because it feels like it. But I don't even know where I want to kind of circle back to is we are doing these things to better ourselves. We're pushing each other. And this tactical games thing is going to be, it's going to suck. I think I posted the video of that final drill we did last week.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually I'll be cool enough and know how to pull videos on the podcast and we can watch and all that. But it sucked. That final drill we did. I know my video's up on, I think I put it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
I disliked it immediately.
Oh, good. Well, at least hopefully it helps the algorithm. I think that's a word.
I think that's how we need to do it. Let's just create a bunch of accounts and just start
like
doing
it.
Yeah.
We'll just get our wives and kids.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Pay your kids a quarter every time they like one of our videos. No, it sucked, but we're pushing ourselves to be better. That's the biggest thing I want to really try and do with this. We've talked about it a couple times in this episode. We're not great shots. We learned some things. We were in the military. We were in law enforcement. Still are in law enforcement. We have to qualify. We have to do these things. And we're surrounded. And we have such a unique opportunity to just better ourselves in so many different ways. And that's something a lot of guys we work with don't take advantage of.
No, they don't.
And we are going to be so much better after these tactical games.
Yeah, like that thing.
Okay.
No, okay. Sorry, it was very distracting.
It's like, what, me?
Look at you saw his face.
I didn't know you could hear me. But we're going to be so much better after this. It's like I'm excited and I'm nervous and it makes me want to throw up because I wanted to throw up watching you do the drill last week.
Gosh,
if go check out the video or don't, I don't care. But we hopped out of a car, ran around it as low as possible, simulating like we're getting shot at type of thing. Grabbed our rifle out, ran up, dropped down. I don't even know how long do you think that shot was?
Well, I think they were set up when we were shooting them. They were like 57 out. So I'd probably say it was probably 70 yards, probably.
Yeah, it seems fair. About 70 yards. Hit the steel.
Which isn't bad with a rifle.
No.
It's not.
I'm just glad my scope didn't fall. Hit the target, then we had to run up and what did he call that?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's it's like a barricade, but it has a bunch of cutouts. So you have to shoot from different angles and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so we had the first one, we had to get down there and really bang, bang.
Yeah.
2 shots hit the steel.
Mm-hmm.
It's awkward. It's different. Then we had to get up and do burpees.
With an ammo can.
I hate burpees.
Yeah.
Burpees suck.
Yeah, dude, that was terrible.
With the ammo can. The ammo can probably weighed like 5 pounds, but it felt like
70.
a million by the time we were done with it. And then run back up. Bang, bang. And we learned things about it.
Of course.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We learned things about our equipment. We learned things about ourselves, right? Cardio. When you do more cardio,
dude, you think you're in good shape or you think you can hang and then you do something outside the scope of what you're
outside
normally
the norm. Oh my!
You're like, holy crap! But that's the beauty of it too. I like having something to train for.
Yes,
I like training. I'll go and I'll do the mundane weightlifting thing and just get in a routine. But I like having something specific to train for. It gives you kind of that little excitement to get up there and get after it a little bit.
And that's the thing. I know, I'm the last white belt of our group, but it's also because one, between injuries, but also I've done a couple of strongman competitions and different things. Because, like I said earlier, we set our own limitations, and I just want to see what I can do.
Yeah,
I picked up a truck, and I thought
it was a Hot Wheels Tonka truck. You did a great job.
I thought my eyeballs were going to pop out of my head, and I'm never going to do that again unless it's on fire and my wife's under it or whatever. Unless I have to.
Right,
but now I know that that limit. Nope. Not going that way anymore. And with this, I think it's going to be so cool to show our boys, right? Like, look.
Yes. That's the big thing,
right?
I tell my kids all the time, if you take away one thing, right, is you better always be here for your family and you better always put God first.
Mm-hmm.
That just show up. Me just being there, it makes a world of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's why I try to tell them. And then they can see that their dads did some pretty cool stuff too.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's where I hope this podcast, and I've been off social media for over a year and for some platforms and different things just because didn't want to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't giving me anything, but it's been on my heart for so long to do something like this. I didn't know what it was going to be.
Right.
I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I finally just needed to shut up and nut up, right? Like, just do it.
Yeah.
And I just to be able to reach more people because I don't like going into the city. That's scary.
Yeah.
Even though we came from like,
no.
from city backgrounds and everything, like I don't want to put myself or my family in those situations, to be in those crazy situations. But with social media and everything, you can reach so many more people.
Yeah.
This might only hit 5 people and just people that we work with, but
hey,
maybe they'll share it, right? Maybe we can just start planting these seeds. Maybe we can
but even if it reaches one that touches them or brings them the gospel or has them question it, then it's worth it. It doesn't even matter then at that point. Then that one is worth it, and that's why you're meant to do something like that.
Yeah, and it's just challenging people to just do something.
Yeah,
to be better. Be better.
I think this will let people know that there's other people like them out there. I think sometimes we feel like, because if you watch the news and the media, there's nobody believes in strong men, or there's not that type of thing in the world now. They're all gone. All right. But then when you have something like this and they see big scary Paul sitting on one side of the table, they're like, that's me right there. He still exists.
Yeah.
Right. And it gives them somewhere where they can go and listen to. Yeah, that could be me. Yeah.
Because we talked about.
Oh, he thinks very rationally and normal. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't have to call him by his pronouns or whatever. Ooh.
Scary stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like I just being humble, and
I don't got an ego, man.
Yeah, I might be a big time podcaster.
Nah, that's good.
Just wanting to be humble about it and show guys that you can be something more.
Yeah,
and just kind of hopefully giving, with all these guys I'm gonna have on here, better men than me.
Better than me.
Copy. No,
that's why. Listen, that's why I'm like the opener, right? Yeah. And then as the podcast goes on, like the grand finale will come. I'm just like one of those, a filler episode. Essentially, what's happening.
Grand finales. Jesus Christ coming back.
That's right, baby. Sometimes, right?
But yeah, just man, it's been a journey, and I hope to just get other guys on here to share their stories, and next time we'll dive into some other stuff.
That's good. All right. Well, before we go off here, I just have to say I'm proud of you.
Appreciate that.
I wouldn't say you were the last one to come online, but you kind of, I'm just proud of what you're doing. Being from where you were, and I know Britt's had a big role in that for you too. But you found a good woman, right? And you wifed her up. You didn't play around. You just started to do really good things. And I know it doesn't mean anything coming from me, but you're a good friend of mine. I'm proud of you.
Absolutely does.
I'm proud of you. I'm excited to see where this goes for you. And if you treat it like everything else you do and you put God first, you stay disciplined, this will be good for you. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. No, it means a lot coming from you, and that's just like why you're my first guest, because we kind of started this journey together.
Yeah,
and just
I'll be like a Joey Diaz to your Joe Rogan. You can have me on every couple months.
Yeah,
cut it up a little bit. That'll be it.
Every couple months. Good. I don't know how many people I'm gonna get on here, so it might
be
every couple weeks.
Like, Bobby, I need
Bobby, quick, I need to get another episode out there. Come on over. We'll talk about.
Hey, Saturday mornings work well.
Talk about sports ball or something. No.
Yeah, there you go. Oh gosh.
No, but I really appreciate your time, brother. I know you're getting ready to go out of town. You can go do warrior things, man. That's what's cool. You're going to sharpen your skills somewhere else with some different guys, and I'm excited for you to come back and share some of that knowledge and just help sharpen us up, and then we'll get back to that grind of getting ready for these tactical games.
Yes, sir. This will be good.
So yeah, bro, I appreciate your time. Get back to your family.
Yes.
Spend some time with them.
And the Buckeyes come on in about 2 hours. So.
Okay. I don't know what that is. Is that a bean?
Good. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, brother. So I appreciate you. So we'll end this episode. If you liked it, like and subscribe. I guess that's a thing.
Subscribe.
If not, screw you. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah. If you don't like it, like it anyway.
No. yeah, so I think this is a good first episode.
And scene.
Appreciate y'all. God bless.
Boop.